Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to share with you my experiences for the first time that I had visited Norway. It's a bit surreal because just a few months ago, like 2 months ago I think, I shared a video about how I've never been to Norway, but because I work with them I had some like experiences on culture shocks and stuff. But then fast forward a few months later, I had a chance to visit Norway and I had some more culture shocks. And I'm here to share those with you and like how my whole experience has been, because it has been amazing. So let's get into the video. So I think the first culture shock I'd experienced in Norway is the cost of living. Like I had been told before that the cost of living in Norway is it's a bit like high, but I was like, you guys are just like over exaggerating it. It can't be like the same to like the rest of Europe. But I arrived there and like I really saw what people were saying, because the minute I arrived, because I was so tired, and I think because I was so much excited about going to Norway, like I really didn't think through everything. I was just like, I'm going to Norway. So I didn't like pre-plan anything until I got there. So I just arrived at the airport and then I was like, oh, I need to go to my hotel. So I knew the name of the hotel and it's like, I'll just like call an Uber, it'll be easy and stuff like that. And then I opened my Uber app and then I was calling a ride. The price. I was like, what? Like, this is a 30 minutes ride. How is this expensive? I even remember I made like a whole Instagram story post about it, because no, I was so surprised, because like where I'm from, Ubers are not even that expensive. Like Uber is like an alternative, like a cheap alternative to like transportation. So like the fact that Ubers could cost that much, I was stunned. I was like, like I had some anxiety for a minute, because I was like, how the fuck am I gonna get away from this airport, because I didn't have anyone to pick me up. So I had to figure out a way for myself to like get out of the airport and be in the hotel. And by that time, like obviously the Uber was no longer an option. So I was like, fuck, I'm fucked. So I took like a few like 5-10 minutes to like decompress and like process everything and like to allow my brain to come back. And then I remember actually I could figure out the train system and see how it works, and like I get a train, and then yeah, I figured that out, and then I got a train and I was relieved, because I couldn't have paid that much for like 30 minutes ride. Not me. So the second culture shock that I faced is the fact that supermarkets don't sell alcohol past 8 p.m. Like, what? Because in my country, I can get alcohol anytime I want. Like, alcohol is sold 24/7. So I don't know if it's good or bad, but like we can get alcohol 24/7. Because the same day that I arrived in Oslo, Norway, in the evening, I was like, you know what, I'm just a bit bored and stuff. Maybe I should just go to the supermarket and get some beers. And I wanted to go to the supermarket because I was trying to save money, you know, like I had already had a few shocks before that. Like things are very expensive everywhere. I was like, I'm not going to a bar, because I know bars tend to like hike the price for like alcohol, because yeah, they're in business, they need to make some profit. So I was like, I'll just go to the supermarket, get like just a beer and have it in my room because I can. Only for me to go to the supermarket and they told me, no, we don't sell beer past 8 p.m. I was like, huh. So now I need to sit with myself. I was so annoyed anyway. But so I just had to go to like a pub and like have drinks there. But I was really surprised with the fact that they don't sell beer past 8 p.m. And then actually the next day I was having a conversation with like a colleague of mine about that, and she like told me a bit more about it. So apparently alcohol past the percentage of 4.8, I think, is only sold by the government through the wine monopoly, and you can get that from the supermarkets. Yeah, and also you can get alcohol on Sundays, something like that. I was like, that's a lot, but I think everything maybe has just made Norwegians a bit more good planners, because like you really have to have like proper planning to have alcohol in your house or something, because that's like, I mean, like there's no way you can just like wake up and go buy alcohol anywhere. So that was another bummer. And on the same alcohol note, I think the other shocker that I had was the fact that the public drinking is not allowed. I'm not sure if this is true or that security guard was just messing with me, because the day I was leaving, I was at the airport, and then I had like so I had my luggages and stuff, but also I had like a can of beer which I wanted to drink as I was waiting, because I arrived at the airport a bit earlier than my check-in and stuff like that. So I was like, I'll just take it slow, I'll just chill here, like calm down, like just decompress and stuff. I'll have my drink. And the security guard saw me with the beer and then was like, oh, you're not allowed to go in with that. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna check in with this, or just sit somewhere and drink it before I check in. And I was like, no, even that is not allowed, like no public drinking. And I was like, eh? So I had to throw out my can of beer because they couldn't allow me to like drink my beer. And I love day drinking. So I was like a bit like, what? Like I need to drink when the sun is still out, you know, like I don't have to drink in the dark. Either way, I'm not sure if that's true or like the girl was just fucking with me, but yeah. And it was at the airport. So maybe I hope it's just airport etiquette. I'm not sure if this applies everywhere around the city or something else. So yeah. Another culture shock I'd experienced in Norway is how silent it can be. Like the streets are quiet, like very quiet. And on an individual level, I love that. Like I love the fact that the streets can be so quiet because we don't have that here. Like where I'm from, we don't have quiet streets. You know, like it's very hard to get like quiet streets because for context, the population in my city, not even my country, in my city is 8.5 million people. Like that many people, and the size of this city is sort of like 3 times the size of Norway, so it's not even that big, but it's a lot of people. So to say like it's always cars horning, it's always something is loud somewhere, like you barely get silence. So I love the fact that also it's so quiet, like you could literally walk by the streets and be like, how I'm breathing air, you know, like because I think my city is so loud that sometimes your mind can focus on one thing because the noise is coming from all angles. So I love the fact that Oslo was so quiet. Something else that shocked me about Norway is the fact that there's a bit more diversity than I had imagined to be there before. So I think that's a good thing, yeah, but it's something that I didn't expect. But honestly, there's so much diversity and there's people from everywhere there. So that was a very good refresher to see. Because on the same note, I think on the language thing, also people speak more English than I had expected, because like I heard 3 words of Norwegian that I'd prepared to like greet people and stuff. I was like, at least I should know the greeting, I should know how to say I can't speak Norwegian, you know, like the basics. So I was prepared with those lines, only for me to arrive in Oslo and realize that people actually speak more English than I expected. So that was a relief, big relief, because I don't know how I'd have survived without like meeting like English speakers here and there. Because I even remember at the airport when I was arriving, at some point I started freaking out after seeing a lot of Norwegian signs. I started freaking out. I was like, oh my God, what if no one speaks English like in the city? And then I arrived in Oslo Central and like there was more English than I'd expected. So that was very good. But I'm still very interested in learning Norwegian because I'm like, I feel like it's one of those languages that, I don't know, there's something about Norway that it still feels like a fantasy to me. So learning Norwegian is still on my wish list. Another culture shock I'd experienced in Norway is the fact that there is electric cars everywhere. It was such an eye-opener to see like that many electric cars, you know, because I don't know where is that many electric cars, and I've been to a good number of countries like third world, first world, second world, and I think Norway it should be leading with like the number of electric cars they have. I'm not sure about the numbers, but it was very refreshing to see. Another culture shock I'd experienced in Norway is just how slow the service is, and I never expected that from like Norway, because I thought like I'd kept them like somewhere here on like every level, so I thought the service would also be the same, but the service is very slow. And I think the service industry is one thing that really sucked for me, but it wasn't that bad honestly, but it was just like annoying in a way. Yeah, and at first I thought maybe it was just me in the hotel that I was staying at, but later I was sharing this with someone else, and then she complained about the same thing, that she had like the worst experience in like service, like the service was slow and all that stuff. For instance, in my case, like at one point I'd kept like the badge to have your room cleaned at the hotel, you know, like please clean my room by the door when I was leaving the hotel. And then I came in the evening and my room wasn't touched, it wasn't clean at all. So I went to the reception and told them about it, like I'd kept the badge to have my room cleaned, but my room has not been cleaned. And you know what they told me? Oh, a cute boy is passing by. That boy's and nice. You know what they told me? They told me, oh, if you wanted to have your room cleaned, you're supposed to say that when you're checking in and like choose the days that you have your room cleaned. And I'm like, how the fuck do I know like when will I want my room to be cleaned by the time I'm checking in? Like, I thought you're supposed to pass through all the corridors and stuff and see who has kept that. And like, it was just annoying. So they're like, oh, you're supposed to, yeah, all that jazz. But I was like, nah, this is not the best service that I thought they would have. And then I asked if they could like get someone to clean the room for me during that time. I was willing to wait outside, and they're like, no, they don't have anyone on standby. I have to wait until the next day to fill the form. And it was like a whole process. And I was like, fuck it, never mind. Something else that I experienced in Norway is just the amount of K-pop I heard. So I'm wondering, do Norwegians love K-pop, or it was just that I was always around areas that people loved K-pop? So let me know in the comments down below, because I think I had a lot of K-pop while in Norway than actually I didn't expect at all to hear K-pop in Norway, but then I had a lot of K-pop while I was there. And then I also have this thing where I love listening to like the top 50 playlists on Spotify for the country that I'm in. So I was listening to the top 50 playlists for Norway, and also there was a lot of K-pop in that playlist. So I was like, is it that Norwegians love K-pop, or what's the agenda? So let me know in the comments down below what you think about Norwegians and K-pop. Do you guys love K-pop? Like, what's happening that I don't know about? So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, adios.